and thank you for enjoying the video.
Shot to right, slicing toward the Pesky pole, down the line, and it's going to be out of here! Line down the right field line toward the Pesky pole, leaping up, and that ball is gone! That's a home run! A lot of our Nesson team as well. High fly down the right field line, headed toward the Pesky pole, that one tucked in, and that ball is going to be against the wall, and into second base. Number retired, and now Rafael Devers trying to retire that baseball inside a Pesky pole.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Pesky Podcast. It's episode 90, if you can believe it. Rid will be joining us in a few minutes. So I'm George, the OG Sutherland, and I'll be in the big chair for a little bit. So tonight we are going to talk about the San Francisco Giants. They're coming to town tomorrow. And we have with us Conrad Pasquale, who's covers the Giants. And as always, we love to have members and podcasters from other cities across baseball to talk about their teams, because it kind of gives our Red Sox fans an insight into what's going on across the nation, and particularly when other teams come to town. So, Conrad, how are you today, sir?
I'm good. Unfortunately, the weather here out in the Bay Area has been kind of a little bipolar lately. You know, one day it's really hot. The next day it's like cold and raining. So it's nice, sunny today, no clouds. So can't complain too much for a Monday.
Well, I'm actually on the road and on vacation, so I'm doing this from Nashville. And so it was a very nice day in the mid-70s today. We're getting a little rain tonight, and then in the mid-70s tomorrow, and then Wednesday and Thursday is supposed to get a little bit warmer. But the sun's going to be out, and that's all that matters.
Terrific.
So,
Terrific.
You know, we're doing that. So let's talk a little bit about the Giants. I mean, right now you guys are sitting in second place, what, about 3 or 4 games out of first place.
Correct.
Trying to keep up with the Dodgers. So what's going on with your club?
I mean, there was a lot of, I would say, renewed optimism this season. All things considered, you know, management, front office was pretty aggressive. You know, they tried to go after the big fish, the big names like Shohei Ohtani. He went to the Dodgers, right? Yoshinobu Yamamoto, he also followed him to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
But, you know, there was the initial disappointment from the fans, because I think they really thought that, you know, Farhan Zaidi and was really positioning us to get one of those big fish to kind of turn the tide, you know, in our favor. So for them to also not to come to the Dodgers, or not to come to the Giants, but then to go to our rival Dodgers, you know, that was disappointing. But, you know, they were patient. Farhan and the front office, they were very patient. And all things considered, I personally like the additions that they made this past offseason. Without a doubt, easily the most well-rounded team that we've fielded in the last several seasons. And I think for a lot of fans, last year we were bad and we were also boring. That's like the worst, right? Without even having seen spring training, I think a lot of fans thought at the very least this team should be fun. It should be interesting. I think now that you've kind of seen them play, you know, we're less than 30 games in, but between spring training and this early season, I think there's more reason to be optimistic than just kind of like, you know, it's another wasted season.
So what is the feeling around the San Francisco Bay Area about the team? Are they excited? Are they, you know, is it a wait and see? You know,
I think overall, I can't speak for everyone, but I think the general feeling is there's a lot of excitement. There's definitely a lot of excitement for various reasons. One is one of our marquee free agents, Jung-Hoo Lee from South Korea. You know, he comes over as the KBO MVP. You know, his nickname being Grandson of the Wind because his father was nicknamed Son of the Wind. You know, so he's his father is also a former KBO MVP. All things considered, I think he's been as good as advertised. You know, I think like any time you have someone come over from a foreign league, you question whether or not, their skills will translate. In his case, he's known for being a high contact hitter, known for his speed. Would it really translate, especially his hitting? And for the most part, it really has. He has I think he's tied for the second lowest or the second best strikeout percentage, in all of MLB. He likewise, he does lead the team in hits, in contact. He is, the traditional contact hitter, and he's been our leadoff hitter. He's been good. I think a lot of fans would still like to see him. He has, hit a few home runs, but they'd like to still see it translate. Even if it's not home runs, a couple more extra base hits, and show a little bit more. He runs the bases really well, but again, I think they want to see a little bit draw more walks. Given that he's not striking out, he probably could look to draw more walks. But I mean, he's just very fun. He's very charismatic, and I think that's the thing he'll learn in time. He doesn't want to get walked. He's looking to hit. So he has a lot of those cricket looking swings,
Right. Yeah.
Almost golfing at times. So, but, and then defensively out there in the outfield, he's been pretty fantastic. I think the only 2 times he's made an error, as a lot of people do at Oracle Park, he got the ball lost in the sun, on a Sunday afternoon. But other than that, I mean, he's been solid. And I think, he's kind of, injecting, a spark into the team, And then, of course, the solid veterans that we were able to acquire, Matt Chapman reuniting with Bob Melvin, and then Jorge Soler, because again, the Giants just for the last several years, we've been really, really lacking power at anywhere in the, in the order. So,
well, plus, I mean, you were talking about players that you have missed out on. I mean, a couple of years ago, you're missing out on Judge. I mean, I thought that deal was just about done, and that was that's got to be that's the killer. And there's a guy that you want, hitting home runs into the bay. So,
right. I mean, that's right. 2 summers ago, and I think that's why Giants fans this last season or 2 have been very pessimistic, because it's always we're the runner up to these supposedly, right? A couple years ago, we pursued Bryce Harper. According to him, we were the second choice. Aaron Judge, same thing, we're the second choice. We technically had Carlos Correa, but that fell through because of the weird injury situation.
Yeah,
fans felt a little bit better because then he signed a contract with the Mets, but then that also fell through for the same reason, the whole physicals. But then you see him now; he seems fine. So
right. I think there's a great deal of hesitation by most executives to sign a player to a long-term deal for high money, and if there's any kind of medical, insecurity about things, they're going to take the old hot stove thing. If I'm not going to burn my hand by coming too close, and that's I think the Mets did it. You guys did it. So that's it. And while we're just finishing up, we're going to welcome Rit to the show. So
how's it going, Rit?
Let him come in and do his own intro.
Hey, how you doing, Conrado?
I'm good.
Man, I know you and I were talking, and we were sharing some laughs back and forth, yesterday or so.
Yeah, no, I mean, George was saying, yes, there is. I was telling George there's reason for optimism with the Giants. I mean, we are second in the NL West, but let's be real. I mean, we are a game under 500. And going back to George's earlier question, I mean, keeping pace with the Dodgers, that's relative. I feel like everyone, I can't speak on behalf of the Padres, Rockies, and the Diamondbacks, but I have this sense that we all feel we're playing for second, in the West. We've had one series against the Dodgers. It just you see how much work and team building we need to do if we're really going to consistently be able to play them at their level, to challenge them at their level. But for what the Giants are doing and we're building, I personally like where we're at. I feel confident. Like I feel we'll be competitive against you guys. I felt a little less confident that day you guys had 17 runs, but I mean, offense is still a struggle. Consistent offense is still a struggle for the Giants. So I was telling Rit, man, like I'd be glad if the Giants like scored 17 runs total in the series against you this week. But I mean, we'll see.
And I was telling him, George, I'm like, it's kind of surprised, 17 runs in one game, but then again, we could sit there and go out and pull a 180 and score 17 errors in the next game. So,
you're not lying there, my friend.
Crazy. So, but no, we're for you guys out there with the Giants. It's kind of funny because you guys are playing for second place, but the Diamondbacks showed all you need is a wild card, and you can let another knock someone else out for you.
Right, and I think, like I said, that's where I think if you put like Farzad, you put the Bob Melvin on a lie detector test or something, they'll admit, right, we're playing for second, we're playing for a wild card spot. But having said that, I mean, it comes down to matchups, and I mean, I don't want to be a homer. I like this Giants team. I mean, I think, especially when healthy, I think the Giants, we have arguably the best, or if not at the very least, the deepest starting rotation, right, of pitchers. Between Logan Webb, when he's healthy, but he didn't show much yet because he started late. Blake Snell, young buck Kyle Harrison, Jordan Hicks from Toronto. I mean, he's been a revelation. Keaton Wynn, and then we still have Robbie Ray and Alex Cobb, right, as the cavalry. I mean, that's even in their absence. Those other five guys have been fantastic. And I imagine Logan Webb is amongst the leading candidates for Cy Young. So I mean, somehow the years go by, time is a flat circle. When we were winning those championships in the early 2010s, it was all about pitching. Somehow it's become that again. We've tried to sign some bats, and it's still we're still winning on the strength of our pitching. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, before we dive in, too much of the pitching, let's go right into the matchups of the series. You guys are throwing out, like you said, Logan Webb for game one. Yeah. We're throwing out unlike you guys, we don't have the pitching depth that you do, but for George, I don't know, but maybe you can sit there and tell me, what is the next man up mentality with this season? Like,
it is. In New England, we refer to it as the Belichick next man up routine. It's we've been this team's been decimated by injuries. Okay, the pitching staff, which going into the season, everybody was like, oh, we didn't sign the big name. No, we didn't sign Montgomery. We didn't sign Snell. We didn't get Yamamoto. We didn't get Shohei. Right.
Yeah.
But the guys we have are gamers. And Andrew Bailey, who you're very familiar with, has come in and done a phenomenal job. He's got them to be confident. They trust their stuff. He's given them enough information to, do with what they need to do on the veterans. He hasn't forced it down their throat, but he's opened their minds to some things, and they've done it. And quite frankly, it doesn't matter who it is. You're going to see Cooper Criswell tomorrow night, right, Rit? I think he's the opener, right?
Yep.
So, another guy we picked up in the off season. Doesn't matter who it is. They just next guy up does the job, and that's been the hallmark of this rotation. The guys who have had some significant innings for starters, I mean, you look at our ERAs, okay, and you're looking at some of the best in the league. Tanner Houck 1.60, Cutter Crawford 1.35. Whitlock before he got hurt 1.96, and even Josh Winkowski, who started the other day and had gotten beat up a little bit, is down in the threes.
Mm-hmm.
It just whoever's ready, take the mound, and here we go. So it's been a team effort, and we're waiting on Pavetta to start his rehab, because we could really use him in his competitiveness on the mound. And he showed something early in the season, and then he got hurt, and then now we're waiting to see it again. So, it's been here's the ball. Go get it.
Definitely a fan of Nick Pavetta. So I'm looking forward. Well, obviously not this series, but in the near future, I'm looking forward to his return. So I mean,
you won't see him this time.
Yeah.
But what can we expect from Logan Webb? Going into the series.
I mean, he is like I said, he is our ace. He's rightfully positioned himself, to be vying for that Cy Young. Not that you're trying to win an award, but I mean, everything is clicking for him. He last year he started out a little bit slow and then just kind of really picked up. Fortunately, this time, he's really just picked up right where he left off. I mean, he's put a little bit more on his fastball, but more so, right? His splitter, the cutter, everything's working for him. Just a lot of control. And in the past, he and Kyle Harrison, they didn't accumulate too many strikeouts. It was a lot more of grounders or pop-ups. But now, I mean, his control has just been his placement has just been on point in this early going of the season. So I mean, it's now manifesting in a lot more strikeouts. He is routinely going fairly deep in games, which is kind of interesting, and that's why I would say at least 3 or 4 of our starters, they've been routinely going at least 7 innings. Logan going maybe 8. The irony is that last year, outside of Logan Webb, really, just Logan Webb, maybe Alex Cobb, he won't be playing in the series, he's on IL. But last year, the strength was really the bullpen. The bullpen for the Giants right now has been a little bit inconsistent, outside of our closer, Camilo Duvall. Other than that, our mid-relief, they've been kind of up and down. So it's why it's actually been kind of a blessing that the starters are going a little deeper. And, we don't have to kind of pick and choose which of our relief pitchers to go to.
Yeah. Game 2, it is scheduled. We have Cutter Crawford going on the mound. It has you to be determined. Any ideas who could be going game 2?
So it's interesting. Like I said, Blake Snell, it was very sudden, but last week he was put on IL because of labrum soreness. He'd already been struggling. Let's keep it real. He was struggling. I mean, he missed all of spring training. He was playing catch up, and he's notoriously a slow starter to begin with. So I mean, this is an unfortunate setback because he's just got to ramp up again. They have not named it. I would assume it's going to be Kyle Harrison, especially since we had a day off, or technically he had multiple days off now. He's traditionally typically he's been our number 3. So I feel like they'll bump him up, and then Thursday you'll likely see Jordan Hicks. That would be my guess.
Okay, yeah, because it says game 3, Harrison was to be determined. So against Winkowski. So
yeah,
but so you think that they might bump him up because he's had an extra day off of rest?
I think so. I mean, because right now, I mean, I don't think the other day when Blake Snell, he was a late scratch, and they end up just making a bullpen game. I feel like Logan Webb, Kyle Harrison, Hicks, Keaton Wynn, he's been our 5. They've been very consistent. I feel like they'll just keep that. And then, so everyone's going to get bumped up one, and then they're probably going to call up one of our young guys from AAA. I think probably Mason Black. He's had a couple experience, a couple starts last year. So it's probably what we're looking towards.
So are you worried at all that we have Andrew Bailey, so that he knows your guy, he knows your hitters, he knows your pitchers. He could tell and help the Red Sox lineup. Okay, this is what he's going to do. This is his mindset. This is how he's going to pitch you to try to, counteract what, you guys are trying to do.
The easy answer is yes. Yes. That would make me a little bit nervous. What I would say is, I mean, like, Logan Webb is Logan Webb. So yeah, in terms of what to expect, that's what to expect, right? And he's just going to give you the best. Alternatively, though, in terms of our hitters, our lineup is fairly been overhauled, since last year. I think before you joined us, I was talking about like one of our, bigger free agent signings, Jung-Hoo Lee from South Korea. He's now our leadoff hitter. And then really the middle of the lineup, for the first time, we have like some semblance of actual power, between Conforto was here last year, but he was injured, in and out of the lineup. So he's been pretty solid to start this season. But then joining him, we have Matt Chapman, Jorge Soler. So, I mean, they've obviously, there's a lot of tape on them, but still, as it pertains to the Giants lineup and their placement in the Giants lineup, it's a little different look for you guys to see. But I think for the most part, like Kyle Harrison and Jordan Hicks, they're new. And even Jordan Hicks, even though he's been in the league for a while, he's always been as like a relief guy, basically just tasked of like, throwing fastballs. We were sold all summer about how no, he's going to make a transition. He can be a starter. He's added so many like elements to his game. He's ironed out all the, kind of things that were preventing him from being a starter. And I was like, okay, I mean, I guess I'll go with what we're being told. And so far, he's delivered. So, I mean, his cutter is pretty nasty, for him to still put that much on it, So those are, those are some new looks, I think, that you could expect. I mean, again, I'm sure you guys are going to do your homework, but they are new. They are definitely, it's a newer element to the Giants starting rotation.
Yeah, we have a couple comments here from Mikey Two Guns. Great show, guys. Figured to stop by for a few during the halftime of the Celtics game. Man, Celtics are looking good. And then, of
That's
course, right. Mikey's a supporter, which you guys won't see him. You guys won't see Tanner Houck. Houckamania is taking Boston by storm. In case you don't really, follow or don't know, Jonathan Papelbon is pushing our shirt. Huge Houckamania for Tanner Houck, and it's kind of like huge for us, right, George?
Oh yeah, he said it. We sent shirts to the broadcast booth for the post game show, and we had Pap on last week, and it's taken off. So yeah, we have a new thing now in Boston, Houckamania.
Yeah, that's terrific.
TC final is getting his correct size, adult large. It got shipped out today, so
give it like a child's large. A child large, make it a muscle shirt, So
well, no, they christened a mini me, so that was they were more than eager to jump all over that. So
yeah. So let's go into the lineup here a little bit.
Please.
Who can we expect kind of a surprise in your guys' lineup? And then George, you can try to let's start with the infield first, and then we'll go to the outfield. George, you can try to piece together our fantastic infield. So, but what can we expect from the Giants infield?
Let's see. I mean, I'd imagine a lot of the infielders. Well, okay. The newest addition, obviously, at third is Matt Chapman.
Mm-hmm. And
Overall,
we're really
I'd
familiar with him.
yes, yes. I mean, he's been good. He's been good, but to be honest, I think like any fan base, the fan base would like to see more from him. I mean, defensively, his glove is still as good as ever, but in terms of the lineup, in terms of batting, he's been unfortunately a little bit of hit or miss. And that is where Bob Melvin has been lately doing a lot of rearranging in the middle of the order, trying to see, where they'd be most effective. I mean, he has come up with some clutch hits, clutch home runs, but I mean, it's been, kind of like some lulls in between. Other than that, I mean, let's see. A lot of the other guys in the infield you've seen before, or at least they were with the team last year. Lamont Wade Jr. at first. He's been pretty consistent. Tyro Estrada has really picked up. He's at second. And then actually the guy who, here's a surprise in the sense he's even a surprise to Giants fans. We were in this hunt for a shortstop. Longtime shortstop Brandon Crawford. Okay, we thought he was retiring, and then we even gave him like a going away ceremony, and apparently he decided he had one more year left in him. But we didn't have, the front office didn't really have any interest in bringing him back because, I mean, he's kind of declined. Let's keep it real. So the surprise signing was actually Nick Ahmed from formerly of Arizona, and he's kind of a free agent because he was battling some injuries last year, but he's been solid. He's been solid. Make no mistake, I'm not saying he's going to be a game changer, but I mean that the bottom of the order was a big weakness, especially like we even last year, but even going into training camp, like, man, these are just too many like automatic outs. But he's been really good about connecting the order on the wraparound. So, and then our catcher, I don't know if it's necessarily a surprise, but Patrick Bailey, he's definitely been one of our more consistent players both ways, but especially like his offense, his bat's been coming alive lately. Just a really high slug percentage and everything. So yeah, I'd imagine that's from the infield. I don't think there's anyone really surprising, from the infield. I think really it's more from the outfield, which are the bigger additions or probably the more impactful hitters.
Yeah. George, want to talk about our infield?
Please.
Yeah, it's been a work in progress, primarily due to injuries. I mean, Rafael Devers is finally back at third base. He's had a shoulder issue, so we've had to swap him out for a little bit. He also nearly did a lights out to one of our terrific hitting stars, Tyler O'Neill, when they collided in the outfield. That almost took him out. Shortstop has been it looks like it's finally settling down. So we lost Trevor Story to just an incredibly freak injury when he went, going back on a ball and dislocated his shoulder and now needs surgery. We moved Cedane Rafaela, who was playing, and Ritt will agree, a Gold Glove center field, and put him at shortstop. He came up, he played shortstop in the minors. He seems to have settled in and is doing a good job. The Red Sox, I don't know if we still are leading the league in errors, but one of the things is that our record has drastically improved to, I think it's 13-4 now, when we don't make an error.
13-3, something like that.
Right. When we don't make an error. We were leading the league over the Oakland A's, if you can believe that, in terms of defensive non-prowess. But once Rafael has settled in, he's done a very good job at shortstop. We tried David Hamilton. David Hamilton is a jaguar on the bases, but he can't get on base. Is an average defender, but really didn't cover himself in any glory, and he wasn't contributing offensively. Second base, offensively has been a black hole for us. And Manuel Dales, who we got 2 years ago in the Vasquez trade when he went to Houston, he's a hitter, not much of a defender. He's had an up and down season, and offensively, he's not doing anywhere near what he did last season. The good news is it looks like Vaughn Grissom, who came to us from Atlanta, that looks like he's going to probably be activated for the series. He went 4-for-4 the other night at AAA Worcester. So that's going to be good news for us because we really need some offense at second base. First base, we had Tristan Casas. He has a torn cartilage in his rib cage. He described it as having the equivalent of a car accident in his chest.
Eesh.
So he's going to be out a while. So we tried Bobby Dahlbeck. Bobby's was playing third when Rafi was out, and now he's over playing first. Bobby defensively can do the job, but he is not the same player he was a couple of years ago when he was, going deep. Pitchers have found what can get him out, and he's been getting out on a regular basis. Offensively, he's just continued to struggle. That said, over the weekend we picked up Garrett Cooper. Chances are he will be the starting first baseman for us moving forward, and we just pray that Casas heals and comes back soon because he has 30+ home run power, and we need that. But we need a solid first baseman, and they're hoping Garrett Cooper does the job. He's not going to wow anybody, but he's not going to hurt you either.
Yeah.
So, behind the plate, Connor Wong has had a breakout season.
That's my guy.
Yeah, good guy.
Yeah.
He got 5 home runs, knocked in 13 RBIs. He's hitting 343. The other night against the Cubs, he got the first 2 RBIs of the game. He's simplified his approach at the plate. He said this little toe tap thing that he had for timing. Ditch that, and since he's ditched that, it's like he's totally focused on what the pitcher is doing and just come right along and just done a phenomenal job at the plate. And he's done a good job behind the plate as well. So that's for the infield and behind the plate. That's what you're going to see from us.
Yeah.
Who do you have behind the plates? Since Buster Posey in recent years has went to retirement. So
can't really anoint some. Buster was okay. He was an institution at that point, right? Like he's our starting catcher. So I don't want to anoint anyone, but like I said, our young guy Patrick Bailey, he seems to have really, kind of taken this position and kind of run with it. He's amazing behind the plate. In terms of just really like he's still old school, right? Where he could actually call some pitches and everything like that. Great angles, great takes. And he's just so good from throwing a second from behind the plate. So he is amazing at getting guys out, catching guys that are trying to steal second. He's been really consistent at that. Rarely does he make any errors. And then again, his bat, maybe a little first week or two was a little hit or miss, but since then he's been definitely one of our more consistent hitters. I'm not sure, everyone will of course, comparison is a thief of joy. They'll always compare him to Buster. And I have to agree with a lot of fans who question, I don't think he necessarily will have the same power, at least consistent power as Buster Posey did. But same thing. He's got a really great approach at the plate. Really a compact swing. Doesn't swing wild, doesn't chase a lot. Just really same thing. And especially that he's batting. Well, they've actually moved him up lately. They moved him up in the order. I'm curious to see what the lineup will be tomorrow, or the order of the lineup will be tomorrow, because he's batted anywhere from 4th to 7th, but he's gotten so hot lately, they kind of moved him up and actually moved, well, we'll talk about that later, but yeah, they moved some of the other guys down. So, and he's been very successful, no matter where in the lineup he's been hitting. So it's definitely, again, kind of just giving the lineup a little bit more consistency than we had earlier in the season.
Yeah. Let's go to the outfield now. Outfield is kind of our strength.
Okay.
Overall. So what does your outfield look like out there?
Okay. In left field, we have the veteran Michael Conforto, and I've always said a healthy Conforto is good. When we signed him, because let's be real, when we signed him last year, we struck out on Aaron Judge, we struck out on Correa and stuff like that. And he was, even if we had gotten him, he was always on my wish list. And I knew he would be attainable because sure enough, he was coming off of injury. There's always an angle at it. But I said, okay, just, we sign him, and if he's healthy, he'll produce. And sure enough, he was last year. He got hurt like mid-season. Fortunately, he came in the season, training camp, fully healthy, knock on wood. But again, he has just been defensively, he's been solid. He's not the fastest guy out there, but again, right, his takes, he knows when to make a right cut. So he hasn't really committed too many errors, if any, really. But again, offensively, easily our most consistent power hitter, and that's even on a lineup where we added Jorge Soler. So he's been solid. In center field was, again, the guy that's really injecting excitement into the fan base is Jung-Hoo Lee. He's leadoff. And as I was telling George earlier, he's been as advertised, right? He is a high contact hitter. And he is a high contact hitter. He doesn't strike out. But again, as I was saying earlier, he doesn't get walked a lot because, he is swinging. There are times where he could just take the pitch and he could probably get on base, but no, he's like playing cricket or he's playing golf out there. He's going to find a way, or as people say, he has the Batman pose where, he kind of, so, but overall he's been great as leadoff. Now, right field is where it becomes problematic for the Giants. And I know, so Mike Yastrzemski is our starting right fielder. He's been in some big games. He's been great. He's been a great Giant. I'm not trying to run him out of town, but between Mike Yastrzemski and Austin Slater, it's just, we're not getting enough offense, out of the right field position. It's gotten better lately. I'll give him credit there. It has. And he's even come up in some big moments, right? To get us some clutch hits for, I think, 1 or 2 wins. But it's still extremely inconsistent. And I think that's where the fan base gets really, I don't know if I'd say divided, but where they get riled up, because we do have some intriguing prospects, that actually got some run last season, due to all the injuries. And I think some fans would like to see them come up, but I understand Yastrzemski, he's the veteran, he's just more experienced for the time being. Bob Melvin's sticking with him. But I know baseball's a team sport and it's not one-on-one, but it's just, you look at our right field counterparts, just even amongst our NL West rivals, San Diego's got Tatis, Arizona, even though he's kind of in a slump, they got, Corbin, it's just, and then of course the Dodgers got Mookie Betts. It's just, we're not holding, it's been a weakness. It's been an area of weakness, which I think in general they need to improve. But to be fair, there are a lot of positions that we could look to improve. But as George said, some of the guys, especially in our infield, they won't really hurt you, but they're not really, they're not elevating the team. They're just going to kind of help you get by. So that is our outfield situation. Other than that, and then of course Jorge Soler, but he's DH. I don't think I've seen him in outfield at all this season. So
our outfield, since Cedon Rafaela got to move into shortstop, we had a different look. But unlike your right fielder, our right fielder now has been tearing it up. George, let's sit there and talk about our outfield a little bit.
Please.
Yeah. So we'll start with right field. Wilyer Abreu, who was the other player that came over from the Vasquez trade from Houston, got off to a very slow start. There were a few calls to send him back down to AAA. AC stuck with him, and he has been on fire. And he's batting, something on the order of 292. Got a couple of homers, knocked in 11 runs. But the big surprise with him has been his defense. He made a phenomenal play in right field the other day. I think people forget that he's not just a hitter. He can play some defense. And when playing right field at Fenway Park is no picnic, because it's got the weird cut from the pesky pole all the way around. So if you misplay a ball down there, next thing you know, it's behind you and it's up to the bullpen, and any runner with speed is probably going to end up with an inside the park job. In center field, Jarren Duran. Now Duran last year got hurt. He got hurt, came back, and has picked up where he left off. He's in a little bit of funk right now, but he's been getting on base. He scored the winning run last night against the Cubs with a patient walk, something he wasn't doing. He still strikes out a bit, but he's getting on base, and has really improved a little bit in terms of his defense. Okay. Doesn't always take the greatest routes to the ball, but is doing okay. And with Rafaela moving to shortstop, he's done a very good job. He will get replaced occasionally by Rob Refsnyder, who's a good fourth outfielder. Just himself come off the injury list, came back hot, has been hitting as well. In left field, we've got Tyler O'Neill. He's probably no stranger.
Definitely not.
Guys. No.
Definitely not.
He has been doing his best to emulate his 2021 season right now. He's got 9 home runs, most of them solo shots, got 12 RBIs. He's hitting 329. He hit this little jam shot last night to win the little game off into left field and won the game. He loves it here. He brings 2 Gold Gloves. He's been interchangeable in right field, so if they decide to give Abreu a day off, he moves right over right field, picked it right up. We do have Masataka Yoshida, who was our left fielder last year. He's been our DH, jammed his hand. He's not a horrible left fielder, but he's definitely not of the caliber of either, Refsnyder, Abreu, even Duran and O'Neill. So he's been relegated to DH. So that's our outfield. The outfield that we have with Abreu, Duran, and O'Neill is relatively fast in terms of covering ground, and Refsnyder as well can also cover ground. So defensively, we're a lot better. And we struggled. Our defense last year was not the best as well. Outfield defense has not been the issue. It's been infield defense for the most part here. But it's and the outfield is a hitting. I mean, Duran, like I said, a little bit of a funk, but he's been taking walks when he needs to. O'Neill came through last night. I said already launched 9 bombs, and Abreu's just been solid since he kind of picked it up, and he's just been a monster of late. And Refsnyder comes off the IL and steps right in, and has been doing his part as well. So we've got consistent contributions from the outfield, something that is necessary to win ball games. I know Ritta's having some problems with his wireless, so we're going to take it up from here. So let's talk about, we talked a little bit about the starters going forward, for the series. We talked a little bit about who you'll probably be throwing up against us. For us, we're going to start Cooper Criswell, who, we picked up in the offseason, followed by Cutter Crawford and then Josh Winkowski. Cutter Crawford was a very good and serviceable starter for us in the 5-hole last year. He has picked it up. He right now is arguably our second best starting pitcher behind Tanner Houck, and probably just here in front of Brian Bayo, but even Bayo's, he's on the IL right now. He's done exceptionally well. His ERA is just incredible right now. It's at 1.35. It was sub 1, which was pretty good, but he got roughed up. But he's been just solid. Go out there. He's gotten past the jitters of getting past the 4th inning. He's going somewhere between 5 and 6, which is good. He's had a couple of jams. The other night he worked his way out of it. He's in the 6th. I think everybody in the ballpark thought that AC was going to take him out. He didn't. Basically said, "Go get him, kid," and he did. So it's been a big boost of confidence for him. Cutter Crawford, has been more than we could have expected. We expected that we were going to take the training wheels off and let him go deeper. I think he's proved that. Josh Winkowski was fighting for a starting role in the spring training. Circumstances put him back in the bullpen. He's back in now because, again, injury.
Right.
So that's what you're going to see from us.
Terrific. What can I expect from your bullpen?
Yeah, and then because you missed Tanner Houck this time around.
Okay.
Which he pitched a great game Saturday. And I'm sorry, he pitched a great game yesterday, and then bullpen kind of coughed it up for him. But he's been solid and went a complete game, sub 2-hour job.
Oh, whoa!
Recently, so when was the last time you saw one of those? So he's definitely stepped it up. He's I think AC's appointed him as the man, on the mound, and he's just owned up to it. And he has that death stare when he walks in. He's just all business. So you miss him this time around. So let's talk a little bit about Let's talk a little bit about your bullpen. I mean, you have a phenomenal closer, but you were talking about some of the shortcomings of your setup guys. So let's kind of go into that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a short setup guy, like if our guys can get to 7 innings, then we'll typically go to one of the Rogers twins. We have both, right? we have Taylor and Tyler Rogers. Taylor being the lefty, right? Yep. Tyler the righty with the submarine pitch. Hey, those softball throws seem to work for us, man. He's been pretty good. I mean, I don't want to pick on Taylor. It's just unfortunately it shouldn't. There are too many games where he's put in, and it's we're nursing a 1-0 lead. That's the problem, right? It should be the offense taking more responsibility or taking the brunt of the blame. But unfortunately, he allows 1 run, and then of course, right? The blame's put on him. So there's that. But the other guys, the middle relief pitchers, if our guys get, if our starters get knocked out after 5 or less innings, there are different reasons. Some of them being injury. But Ryan Walker's been overall, he's been okay. Unfortunately, this year, he's just taken some bad angles on his, bad decisions. It's fortunately not allowing too many runs, but far too often walking too many batters. So it's putting a lot of pressure, on the defense. He's gotten himself out of a few jams. I'll give him that. But it's just you never want that, And one of our veterans, carryover from last year, Sean Jelly, recently just kind of came back. So okay, but I mean, me personally, I'm not a fan. Like I've seen the same story too many times. Like these last couple seasons, he'll have like a great, one good inning where he'll strike 3 guys out, and then another where it's just like multiple home runs in a row. And that's the problem. You're just seeing too many of that in the middle, at least the middle relief guys. So that's why it's been good that our starters are kind of going deep into the game to kind of just transition it to Tyler Rogers and then to Camilo Doval. But other than that, yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know. A lot of these guys were here last year, so you'd have to hope that there's kind of certain things, certain mechanics that they got to work through to kind of rediscover that consistency that they had last year. Because again, last year they were the big strength of our team. In a season of a lot of frustration, they were definitely a bright spot. So hopefully they can get to that again. But the early results have been a little hit or miss.
Okay. So for us, I mean, at the back end, we've got Chris Martin and Kenley Jansen. Now, Martin's kind of had an up and down so far, and Jansen has been shaking the rust off. Although we did a great job finishing it out last night. Both of them did not get a lot of work in spring training, so I think there's they're still doing a little polishing, and they need to just get a little bit more work.
Yeah.
But both the veterans, you kind of say to yourself, look, these guys will figure it out. Okay. And like I said, Jansen, pitched a good 9th inning yesterday. So that's a plus because he's been prone to the walk of late. The rest of the bullpen, we've had, one of the big surprises has been Justin Slate. Now he's a Rule 5 guy that we picked up.
Yeah.
He's out there. He's thrown 16 innings. He's only allowed 6 hits, 1 earned run. He's got a .55 ERA. Now that's the thing. He's a rookie, man. I mean, what you see is what you get. But he's been really at times spectacular to watch. We also have Greg Weissert, who we got from the Yankees as part of the Verdugo trade, has done a very good job coming in and doing. He's got an odd arm angle that kind of helps out. Isaiah Campbell's on the IL right now. He's a guy we got from Seattle. We've had some call-ups that are working out. Brendan Bernardino, who was on the staff last year, was start of the year in AAA, came back, done a really good job. The feel-good story of the year is Cam Boozer, who was in baseball, left baseball, was out working in the trades, came back and started about 2 weeks ago. Made it all the way to the major leagues, and it's been pretty solid. He's 31 years old, but he's been a good story and pitched well since he came up. We've got we just designated Joelio Rodriguez for assignment. He was a roller coaster ride, and I think Red Sox fans are more than happy to see him go. It hasn't been pretty. Okay, and when he occasionally threw a good outing out there, but there was more bad than good, and it was time for him to go. As I said, Bernardino, Weissert. We got Chase Anderson at the end of spring training. He's kind of like a mop-up guy, which is fine. We need, every staff needs one of those. He's done that job fairly well. We just called up Wasaka, who was with the Rays in spring training. They signed him, so we've got some depth, and Zach Kelly came up from Worcester as well. Our minor leagues has some relief pitching help.
Okay.
As guys you can bring in. And as I said earlier, when we talked about the next man up mentality, the guys have responded. Okay. And quite frankly, the guys that haven't are no longer here. So that's kind of where we're at.
Well, kudos to your player development then.
Yeah. I mean, Bailey's made a difference, in terms of getting the overall view of the pitcher and what he's throwing changed. Right. Okay. And he's got the guys thinking a little bit more. And with Craig Breslow, running baseball operations now, Breslow's a pitcher, and he's very into the analytics. He brought Bailey on board. As I said, he's no stranger to you guys. You guys had to be noticed capable of doing to your staff. So for us, it's been a turnaround. As I said earlier, nobody expected us to do anything. Okay. And our staff is leading, our starting staff is leading baseball in ERA. Okay. If you said that to any Red Sox fan earlier, before the season started, they'd have laughed and probably asked what we were smoking. But, there you go. So, that's what you can expect from our bullpen. The guys are coming in there. They've accepted their roles. They're ready to go. We haven't had to do too many bullpen games, which was not the case last year because in July and August, the end of July into August, we were doing 2 a week, and you just can't thrive. You just can't sleep on that. That kills it. And Alex Cora is a bullpen killer to begin with, so let's not help that situation out a bit more. So we do something here, instead of saying the Cy Young of the series, we have something which we refer to as the Totally Nasty Award, which got named because of a side comment I made right before the opening day about pitching and everything. So we have it the Totally Nasty Award. So looking at the series and what your what the Giants are coming in at, who do you see taking on the best pitching outing for your team?
Okay. I think I know where you're going with this. If I'm correct that they're just going to bump up in Blake Snell's absence, they're just going to bump everybody up and then call in another guy later on for our fifth. Then if that's the case, you should see Jordan Hicks on Thursday. And I'm going to give him the Nasty Award.
Okay.
Because like I said, I mean, another feel-good story just for him, but for Giants too. Because again, a lot of people, not just Giants fans, but, MLB analysts and everything, that he could make the transition to a full-time starter. And I know it's still early in the season, but so far, I mean, he's yet to have a bad outing. He'll have one, sure. Everyone's due. But I mean, like the manner in which he is approaching each game, just both the patience and everything. Like that's the thing. He's known for his fastball, and he's not even going to it that often, He'd rather be throwing 88, 89, 90, 88 to 89 mile per hour, cutters or sliders. And again, that was what everyone said was his weakness, right? Was his control, his placement, and he's just been money. So I think he'll have some good pitches in him come I would assume Thursday if he gets
I was surprised when they said he was going to be a starter, but he's definitely blossomed. So you got to love that. I mean, we don't love it. We'll let it face him, but I mean, you have to be a player. I mean, that's it. I'm going to go with Cutter Crawford. Our guy, he's just been money for us. And he's just taken the role on and just done it really well. On the offensive side, who do you think is going to be the offensive MVP for you guys?
Man. I mean, I already went on.
I know scoring runs has been an issue over late. Yeah.
I mean, it's Oracle Park is a pitcher-friendly park. So even sometimes I think especially our new guys are still kind of finding their way, of the best way to approach the plate. But what I'm saying is I feel like sometimes our guys hit better on the road. But I'm going to go with the former Met. I'm going to go with Michael Conforto. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm just saying, again, he's just been very consistent all season. So,
well, when he's on. So yeah, he's a dangerous hitter. I think for us, I think William Abreu. I think you're going to see what we see in him. Not afraid, goes up there, does good at bats, and then plays plays very good defense as well. So I think you're going to see him. He's down game the other day. I think he's going to come back with a little bit more of a vengeance, and you're going to see what we see in him. So let's take a look at the series. It's a 3-game series. You got some good pitching on both sides. How do you see it going out?
I mean, we got to win. I feel like the Giants, we have to win tomorrow. Like we cannot afford to lose a Logan Webb start. And I'm not, trying to underestimate you guys or anything. I just feel like, it's a good time. It worked out in the schedule where, he can be starting on the first day of a road trip. So I'm hoping that we can maybe take two out of 3, but okay. I mean, we'll see. And again, it really depends too, who Bob Melvin chooses to start on Wednesday and Thursday. I'm just imagining that he'll just bump up everyone.
Okay. I'm also going to 2-1 with the Red Sox. I absolutely respect the heck out of Logan Webb. And with Hicks, we'll see what happens. Okay.
Yeah. So, I feel more like Kyle Harrison's start will be the toss-up game. Yeah.
So I'm going 2-1 Sox. So, before we go, I'm going to turn the microphone over to you, as we always do.
Thank you.
And we, let you tell how people can find you online. If you're doing any writing and things like that, just tell them about yourself and where they can find you online and interact with you if they want.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I am born and raised in the San Francisco Bay Area. So, I mean, I am a fan of all SF Bay Area teams. So, obviously the Giants, the San Francisco 49ers, the Golden State Warriors.
Yep.
Yeah. Actually, so I am, you can find me on Twitter or X at CP3_777. And I actually am a part of 2 podcasts. One being the Box Score pod, another one called East Meets West. Both of them are actually more basketball oriented podcasts. But again, for me, I don't claim to be an expert in anything. I'm just a diehard fan of each, just like I am here today. And I love actually getting opportunities. I'm really happy. And it's been an honor that you guys invited me over because I love to discuss baseball too. So
we love having it. We've been trying to round out our collection of people we can bring on for a given series. I think we're up to 2021 now. So that helps. And for fans, and it's good to listen to how other teams are put together, your perception of your team, what things that they can look for, and they say, well, looks and I heard Conrad say, hey, look at what so-and-so is doing, for the Giants. So it's like you get that insight that you wouldn't normally have. Yeah. Other than just going, well, you look at the box scores and say, hey, this, that, and the third thing. So, this has been one of the things that differentiates us from a lot of other podcasts for the Red Sox is we take an in-depth dive, if we can, with, people like yourself for opposing clubs, both, when we're coming into Fenway and when we go on the road. So,
I couldn't agree more. I love having a fan's perspective on these things, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what we all are, and I think that's what makes baseball so great. Is that we love our teams and we can talk about and if you can talk intelligently about them, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on the Pesky Podcast. Sorry about the technical difficulties we had
Not
trying
at
to get in and out. It happens with Wi-Fi, and I do want to thank you for coming on. Again, this has been episode 90. This is George the OG Sutherland, and with Conrad Pasquale, I want to thank him for coming on tonight and talking about his Giants. So once again, thank you for joining us on the Pesky Podcast, and see you again real soon.
Take care.